Jeffrey, let's go deeper into the administrative state. The idea that there is not accountability is so smart because we don't know who actually does the action. And instead, it is this tyranny of a quasi-collective where it's 10 or 12 people in a room. Can you build that out more for the audience? Because it almost makes accountability impossible if you don't know who is responsible.
Well, everybody who's worked for a large company knows the way this works. If somebody suggests a committee, they say, "Oh, we're all going to get that in there and brainstorm." What that really means is that somebody has some item, an agenda item that they want to shove through, but they don't want to take responsibility for it. They want to make it mushy and make the decision-making crowd-based so that if something goes wrong, they don't have to take responsibility for it. And it's the same thing true in science. I was thinking about this the other day. John Ioannidis, a great scientist at Stanford University, said you can always tell a piece of fake science because it's signed by more than 3 authors, right? And we've seen this over the COVID period, right? Lots of huge studies coming out, and it has 18 authors. Right? Why are there 18 authors? And then you contact one of them, and they say, "Well, I don't really know. I didn't really run through it." And then you contact everybody, and nobody seems to take responsibility for the fake science. And he's done a lot of research in fake science, and he discovers that that it's more than likely the case that it's fake if it's signed by more than 3 authors, because if you diffuse responsibility that broad, then nobody's actually doing the work. There's some bad guy hiding somewhere. Well, it's the same. If it's bad in science and it's bad in your corporation, I promise you, government is like next level terrible. And so you get these people in a room, and there's one person who has an agenda. Usually, it's some special interest, and they're shoving it through blackmail, bribes, or goodness knows what. And then they get this faceless, nameless committee to get it through the bureaucracy. They know the system, they know how it works, and they've been tricking us and lying to us for so many decades. They figured they would just get away with it, and they typically have. It was the COVID period that exposed it all. This sort of corrupt relationship between agencies and their committees and corporations with their lobbyists and then their media outlets, and this whole sort of what people are calling the blob, hard at work, and they've been able to get away with it. And finally, Americans just woke up and said, "Wait, who's running this country? What is the law and what isn't? Who's making these crazy decisions? Why am I having to put up plexiglass why am I having to shut down my company? How come I can't go to church?" And that's what raised the fundamental questions. And the system broke during that period. And that, I think, is what accounts for this election in part. And people are just sick of it. Like, let's get back to the system the founders established, where the people are in charge through their elected representatives, and somebody's going to be held accountable for what kind of system we're running. I don't want to live under a regime over which I have absolutely zero control, which is really where we are right now with 420 some odd agencies and 2 to 3 million bureaucrats that nobody knows anything about that can't be fired. That is not a tenable system. So Trump comes to Washington with an excellent cabinet picks, with a mandate to clean up the system and do something about it and get us back to a system whereby we have actual accountability in government. And that's what they're planning to do. But like I said, my worry is that we have 60 days between now and then. What's coming to Washington is a revolution like we've never seen. And everybody knows that. And there's every reason to think it's going to happen. It's very serious. But Washington is in a panic right now and pursuing irrational, crazy, lawless, dangerous activities. And we're all feeling right now powerless to stop it. It's actually scary. We're going into the holidays.
However, the House Republicans need to get more involved with war oversight powers right now. Do you agree, Jeffrey? 1 minute remaining. I mean, they have a mandate from the American people. We're not just going to sit idly by and allow Joe Biden to sleepwalk us into World War III, which, by the way, would act as a diversion device against that coming revolution. 45 seconds, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. And, I met with a bunch of friends last night. Brownstone does a supper club. And with about 100 of us, we were meeting. And spontaneously, a lot of the people are writing public letters to Putin saying, we don't want war. Please don't take this decrepit,
Yes.
old man in the White House seriously. Americans are a peace-loving people. We can work out our differences. Let's not blow up the world before we get a responsible government in here in January. I think this is really interesting. I think you're right about the House Republicans. Thomas Massey is sounding the alarms, and others need to get involved. This is very serious. We need to wake up and somehow survive between now and the inauguration so that we can at least reset and get back on track to having an American system of government again.